Us from our YouTube channel. We're talking about ethical breeding considerations for future vets, and specifically future vets because I am an educator. I've been a veterinarian for over 20 years, and my telemedicine internship is blowing up. We have over 10 interns that join me from all over the nation to join me when I do my virtual visits with actual pet parents and clients, and it's a wonderful way to teach the next generation of veterinarians. That's really big. That's one of my passions. So we are talking about backyard breeding and whether that's, a misnomer, a misconception, a myth. um, so backyard breeding, how do we term that? Is it fair to label all small scale breeders that way? I wouldn't say that. A lot of the friends and peers that I have do bully breeding, right? Bulldog mixes, the Frenchies, and things like that. I've gone to a lot of dog shows, and they take such great care of their animals. And so, I want to just jump in and say that I have a lot of, I give them a lot of kudos for starting a business. It's not easy to start a business and be successful. And so, kudos to you who are really out there doing ethical breeding. We talked about bulldogs, Frenchies, and those mixes. They are often the center of ethical breeding considerations and debates. They're often targeted because they have health issues, right? What are some issues that Frenchies often deal with? Jump in there, some of my interns. Let me see who this is over here in the chat. King Crazy. Okay. Thank you, King Crazy's Turtle Hut, for jumping in and saying you think it's a slang term for hobby breeders. Very good. You get a prize. I'll tell you what that prize is later. But yes, it is kind of like just a slang term, not necessarily always negative, but it is often, again, I hear some of my colleagues maybe mentioning it because we as veterinarians, we see a lot in this realm, right? In theriogenology, therio, which is reproduction in veterinary medicine. So ethical breeders of bully breeds, they focus on minimizing the risks of genetic disorders, right? Like, for instance, when they have the little short nose and the airway, which is called brachiocephalic airway, right? Future vets, you know about that. That's a syndrome. It can be too short. They can have trouble breathing, right? Also, the skin issues that sometimes happen. So when you're breeding, you're trying to like get rid of some of those genetic disorders and kind of breed those out of your line, right? So these ethical breeders really are working hard to improve the health of their dogs. And we know that it's not only dogs. Here at Dr. Croom Mobile Vet Service, we do not only deal in dogs, it's cats, it's reptiles as well. Okay. So we're going to get into all of that. As far as my future vets that are joining me tonight, who here is interested in working with breeders or working in that therio? I know I just totally messed up the name. Any of my veterinary colleagues who are in here, help me out. It just has to do with getting into the specialty of reproductive health. And so your input to these pet owners is going to be crucial, future vets, to making sure that they understand what ethical breeding really is. Okay. So again, focusing on minimizing the risk of common genetic disorders that we talked about in those breeds, not just breeding for looks, not just breeding for market demand, right? We see that a lot with doodles. Who are my doodle lovers out there, right? We know that doodles have practically become a breed, like a quote unquote purebred breed, right? When we know that doodles are a poodle and a lot of times another large breed like a Bernese Mountain Dog or Australian Shepherd, and they'll be all mixed together, but mostly having those poodle characteristics like not shedding a lot, right? And so sometimes the thought there when the ethics comes into play is like, okay, are we getting this doodle just as a kind of an accessory for our home? Are we getting them just so that we can have them, in the house and, not leaving a mess for us to clean up? If that's the main issue for you, then it may not be, more so on the ethical side. It may just be on the like, hey, I want a new bauble or a new shiny. We do have people, though, of course, who are allergic, right? Are really, really, and just really want a dog and just have to have one. So they search far and wide for breeds that do not shed a lot, do not have all that dander that's going to kick up their allergies. Look, I understand, okay? I have allergies as well. I've had them all my life. And guess what? Guess who's still a veterinarian? This one, okay? So it's all good if you have those reasons, but just really think about it before you go and maybe search for a breed just for those reasons, just for aesthetics, versus finding a breeder, if you're not a breeder yourself, that is really focused on getting those genetic disorders out of the line. Okay. All right. Cats. I actually have quite a few cat breeders who come to our website, drcroom.com, and get some of our herbs for breeding health. Okay. One of our herbs is called Pregnancy Smoother. We had a Persian cat owner who picked up some of that, as well as our Epimedium formula, which is actually increases libido in males and females, dogs, cats, and horses. It can increase the libido, and as well, the epimedium formula can increase sperm production and motility, sperm health. Really important, right? Yes, I'm saying the word sperm because as a veterinarian, future veterinarians out there, you can't be afraid of saying the words, okay? We have another herb called Wan Dai Fang, which is used to cleanse out the vaginal cavity and the uterine cavity after birth, right? So breeders will sometimes, breed, a litter will be had, and then maybe 6 months to a year later, another litter is coming. And so in that period of time, they want to make sure that everything is cleared out. The immune systems are raised back up. The mother is doing well. The stud is doing well. And so we have some really great herbs over at drcroom.com that are specifically for breeders. Check them out. But the cat breeders is really no different. They're trying to eliminate those genetic disorders that may be in the line, while also increasing the chance of having some of those more aesthetic and beautiful characteristics that come out, like color and long hair versus short hair or eye color. Okay. Has anyone here, any of my future vets on the line, ever looked into feline genetics or considered working with cat breeders? These are some of the things that you should think about moving forward into veterinary medicine. Okay, we need veterinarians who are going to be able to advise the breeders, really educate them on how to eliminate certain genetic diseases. For instance, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy in certain breeds of cat breeds. Okay, so enlarged heart, and that can be passed down through the line. We want to eliminate those kinds of things. King Crazy, let me see what you're saying here. Really good thought here. King Crazy's Turtle Hut, turtle and reptile expert. Thank you, Rob. You said, my personal opinion is that there are a lot of breeders and there are also a lot of pets that end up in shelters. Very true. Very true. And that is where a large part of the controversy takes place. It's like I will hear it all the time. Why not just go to the shelter and get a dog there? Why not go to, SPCA and get a cat there? Cats especially, breed like like rabbits, right? They can breed very quickly again and again, and the youngsters, the baby kittens, very quickly are able to come into sexual maturity very, very quickly. So you want to make sure that you're able to um, educate those pet parents and educate those breeders into making sure that it's not all about just aesthetics and look, and that you're really looking at those different diseases that can come into play that are passed down through the genetic line. Okay, so cats. Something else. One of my interns has brought up was on the reptile side of the house. And you see, we just had King Crazy on here. He is one of the reptile experts that we work with. And when we talk about reptiles, here it really comes into play when we talk about like visual traits, like colors and patterns and I see it all the time. I go to the Reptile Expo here in Kalamazoo as often as I can. So the breeding ethics are really less discussed maybe in the mainstream, but when you get into, those reptile groups, it's discussed all the time. And so reptile breeders, again, do often focus on, those colors and patterns and things like that. But future veterinarians, as vets, we have to be responsible and make sure we ensure that those animals are healthy, well cared for, and not suffering from inbreeding. Okay. And inbreeding can happen not only with reptiles, but of course, dogs and cats too. Some of that is accepted in breeding where, like the mother is bred to, the son or, the grandson or something like that. So you've got to look at those various lines and see what it is that you're looking to do so that you don't mess up that line and have animals that are, poor welfare. All right. So you want to just prioritize the animal's health and behavioral needs, not just aesthetics. So thank you again, King Crazy, a reptile expert, for jumping in there. So again, getting kind of back into the backyard breeding, we know that that's just a misnomer. We've talked a little bit about that just being more so of a slang term. And I do fall more so on that side of the controversy because I just know too many ethical breeders, let me see. Katie, I don't know if you're on the line, but I know you breed otter hounds and you do an amazing job. You're an ethical breeder, doing everything you can to bring that line, that breed up. Beautiful breed. They definitely have a lot of hair roundabouts the face. But I love the otter hounds. And then we talked about the bully breeds as well. They get a lot of flack, unnecessarily, I would say. Let's not be discriminatory against certain breeds or certain breeders based on the type of animal that they're trying to bring out, and they're trying to have an economical situation for their business. They're trying to be just like any one of us and have a business that works well while still putting their morals and values into play. Okay. So again, as we prepare to close out, I don't see any other comments right now. So I'm just going to just summarize a lot of controversy around backyard breeding of dogs, cats, reptiles, mostly focusing on the visuals, mostly focusing on the aesthetics, mostly focusing on if they shed or not, right? Mayo, where are you? You guys all know Mayo. Come here, Mayo. She is a prime example of not only the mascot for our company. Mayo, come here, girl. Hey, come on up. Come on. They want to see you. Come on. Oh, all right. There she is. There she is. So, that's my girl. And so when we talk about breeding, a lot of times we discuss mutts, right? Mutts. What is a mutt? Oh, we could consider the doodle a mutt, right? Of sorts, because like we said at the top of the hour, doodles are almost now seen as like a whole, breed that's not a combination of breeds, but indeed it is. It's poodle plus some other things, right? And a lot of times I come across doodle owners that are really focused on the fact that they don't shed or don't have a lot of dander and things like that. And that's okay sometimes. But if that's your only focus, that may not be cool. Now, Mayo here, you can tell what breed she is. She's a cattle dog, but she is a mix as well. So she would be what's considered a mutt, right? And as you know, future veterinarians, you hear it all the time that mutts oftentimes are healthier in a lot of ways because versus the purebred who can have a lot of issues, a lot of, conformation issues with their bones and joints and hips and things like that. Whereas a mutt, I can live, be 20 years old and just doing fine, never had a vaccine. No, I'm not recommending that. Not recommending not to vaccinate your animals, but this is something that even back in vet school, I remember learning about, like, oh yeah, you want to get a mutt because they just are overall healthier. And I've definitely seen that happen with my own baby. Mayo, that's right. This is the girl. What you looking at? What's going on over there, Mayo? You say hi to everyone? We thank you for joining us tonight as we talked about ethical breeding considerations for future veterinarians. Really important if you're going into the veterinary industry to make sure that you, first of all, know what your morals and values are when it comes to breeding. If you plan to get into that, even if you don't plan to go into the specialty of reproductive health, it's always good to know, where you stand, and to always be open-minded so that as things change and as new information comes out, you're ready to move with the punches. Okay. You want to know that breeding is not, we're not only talking about dogs and cats, but reptiles as well. You want to make sure as you're teaching your pet parents, future vets, that you're focusing on the animal's health and well-being. You want to make sure you're focusing not only on aesthetics, but the actual health of the animal and where in that genetic line various traits are going to fall. You want to make sure that you're educating those pet parents and those breeders on the different genetic disorders that can happen with the various species that you're working with. You've got to be knowledgeable on those things, right? So you can share that knowledge. And last but not least, I mentioned at the top of the hour as well, our telemedicine internship. Super excited about that because we bring students college age and older right in to be working directly with me, a veterinarian and a holistic one at that. They join me virtually as we do our virtual visits with pet parents. That's right. You can jump right in on our virtual calls, see the pet, talk to the pet parent, learn those soft skills that you need. You can't just work with only animals, guys, okay? I know. Most of us got into the veterinary world thinking, I'm shy, or I just really love the animals. I really, I could do without the people, right? But it doesn't work that way. You've got to be able to work with people. So in our telemedicine internship, which I'm going to see if I can find the link here so that you can share that with any future veterinarians in your life to come and join our internship. It's totally free, and you get access to me. You get access to other veterinarians that are my colleagues and peers, and you get access to our school community. Okay. It's a community where it's all for you, future vets. Come on in. Here's the link. Copy and paste it. It's in the live information as well. We want you here because it's my passion to teach the next generation of veterinarians, how to be successful, how to know what it is that you can do, what specialties that you can be a part of. Just talking to a couple of my interns last night on one of our live events in the school that you've got to network with your fellow veterinarians, just like I do with my peers. And it starts right now. So get the link there, come on into the school, then you can have the application for the internship. Coming into the school does not mean that you are just automatically going to be able to be in the internship. You can apply. This is the link for the application for our internship. We take applications on a rolling basis. So whenever you apply, We'll take a look at your information and see if you're in. Currently, we have about 10 interns, and we do have room for more. Okay, so there's the link for signing up for the internship. And again, if you get into the school, though, you'll have access to all of that there. Okay, so we're looking forward to seeing you over there. Thank you again for joining us tonight as we got into ethical breeding considerations in dogs, cats,